So in previous class, we discussed about what is list and what is set and what is map, and we have discussed very high level what map contains and what set contains, what list contains. So now we will go in deep what are the different classes that list is offering and when to use which class and what is the benefits and what are the free different methods that was present with all the classes. So today we will start with the all the classes which are presenting with the array list, right? So let me start with the array list. So go back to the real time and we will see what's happened. Okay, right. So yesterday we discussed about the list, and what we discussed about the list is list will allow to store the group of elements that can be null or duplicate or number of objects. That's what we have discussed about the list. And there is a couple of predefined classes. One is array list and one is linked list, and is third one is the vector. So these are the three predefined classes that we have, and we will try to see what is the advantages of these three predefined classes and when to use which class. So we'll start with the array list first. All right, so let me give you like overview of the background actually. So let me try to tell you one more time. So here, the first thing I wanted to discuss is what is array list. Again, let me recall what we have discussed again. So array list is a class which implements the list interface. Point number one, that is what we had discussed. And second point is since it is it is implementing the list interface, it is a nature of storing a null values, duplicate values, and number of objects, and internally uses the array data structures, and it is index based actually. So that is what array list is called. That's what we have discussed. Okay, so now we will start with declaring array list, how to declare the array list. So let me try to write and let me tell you the syntax, how to declare array list and how to store the elements in array list and how to delete it and how to find elements are present or not. All the predefined methods that array list is offering, I will tell you. So as I told, we can do the data manipulation using the collection object. Since it is one of the collection object, we can do the data manipulation. Data manipulation is nothing but you can perform some operations called create, read, update, etc. like that. Okay, array list string L equals to new array list and string. Okay, so this is how we will declare the array list. So here I have added string here. So what is this? You will not understand. Let me remove this first and let me declare array list. Okay, so this is how we will declare the array list. Okay, point number one, what I will try to tell you is array list is the class since you can able to create the object. So when I try to create the object for list, it is not allowed because that is an interface. Since it is a class, you can create the object. And what type of declaration it is? It is called non-generic. Non-generic declaration it is. When I say non-generic declaration, what is the meaning of non-generic that you should aware of it? That means you can manipulate any kind of data type. Any kind of data type. Any kind of data type is nothing but you can store strings, you can store integers, you can store any of the classes that Java is having. So those are the wrapper classes. I will discuss what is wrapper classes again. So you can store any kind of data type. So this is called a non-generic. So if I wanted to store multiple elements in the array list, the syntax will be al.add object dot Nagesh and al.add Nehan. Okay, so you can store multiple values and you can store any kind of data types. So I am storing integer also. I can store float also. All right, so I can store any kind of value. So here, if you see, this is an object, ArrayList an object, which holds the any kind of data type. It is allowing string, it is allowing integer, it is allowing float, it will allow boolean. All the data types can be accessed or accepted. The reason because you declare such a way, this is a non-generic format. Non-generic format is nothing but you are not providing the any data type here. You are not providing the any data type here. You are not providing the any data type. So when you provide some data type here, it will allow only the specific data type that is called a generic data types. So I will explain again. So when you wanted to store different kind of data objects, either string or integer and float, boolean or character, like any kind of value, you can add it over this object. So what kind of declaration it is? It is non-generic declaration. It is a non-generic declaration, right? When I say generic declaration, so how the list will be? Array list string s equals to new array list. Okay, command s. And if you see, this is called generic declaration. So now it is bit complex since you never declared this kind of syntaxes. So bit complex. I will explain in detail what it is called. Okay. So this is called array list array list extends the string. So what it extends means, why you are saying extends when you're writing like this, I will tell you. Okay, so what will happen is, s is an object, that is array list object. You are storing multiple values into s object. So s dot add, you can add Nagesh, s dot add Neha, you can add multiple values. So what will happen is, when you write like this, so this object will extends only string values. So this object will allow only string values. If you are inserting any other values rather than string, it will not allow. See, let's suppose s dot add, I'm trying to insert the 1. Now you can see it will not allow. So it is telling that, boss, it is not applicable. This array list or s object requires the string, but you are trying to insert the integer. Means, what is the way of declaration when you use the generic declaration? When you wanted to store the same kind of data types, either string or integer, boolean, any of the one same type of data types, when you wanted to store, then you can add this, right? So this is how we will declare. So first, what we have discussed is basically array list is a class, since we can create an object and we can add the values. I have not even covered the predefined methods. Here I have discussed about the ways of declaring array list. So one is the generic format, another one is the non-generic format. Clear? So now we will start with the predefined methods. What are the predefined methods that array list is having? Since we are starting with the generic format, we will use the generic format. You can do the practice for non-generic. It will be same actually. So you will not face any issues, and let me know if you are facing any issues in next class. Okay. So this is called a generic way of declaring array list. Okay, clear. Now I wanted to tell you a couple of methods that array list is offering. Okay, first method is add method. So what add method will do? So add is the predefined method from array list, and which will help us to insert the value into array list object. insert or add the value into array list object. So now, so what is the return type of this method and what is the inline parameter? What we have to pass this one is inline parameter. Inline parameter is an object and inline parameter in object and return type is boolean. Return type is boolean. So I will tell you what is this boolean actually. So we can perform the number of operations using this boolean. So basically al dot add. So inline parameters is nothing but what is the value that add is looking for. It is looking for some value, right? That is object. So why I said object here, we are storing the string, right? Why I am said object means you can, if you're writing integer here, you will write the integer. If you're writing boolean here, you will write the boolean. If you write this something etc, then it will allow you to add the specific value. So that's why I defined as an object. So based upon this value, it will change. If you are writing integer here, it will allow integer. That's why I have defined this as an object. And the return type is boolean. What is return type is boolean, right? So let's system.out.println, and I'm trying to print what it will returns. The moment it will execute, what will happen, we will try to see. So the return type is true. The reason the return type is true, the reason because basically this add method is already storing that object, that element into the array list object. So that's why it is returning true. If it is not stored, it will return false. Since it is storing, it is returning true, right? So now if you see the array list value, if I'm printing array list value, run as this one, and you can see hello. So in this array list, hello is added successfully, right? So if I wanted to add many values like hello, okay, so let me run now and see what will happen. Hello 1, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, hello 4. So these are the couple of strings that I have added into the array list, and I can able to see all the values are inserted, and I can able to see the array list object. So now you are clear with what is add method will do. Add is the predefined method in array list which we will use to add the value into array list object. Okay, you can write multiple times add method to add the multiple values. There is many shortcuts actually to add many values single time. So I will explain in detail in next classes actually when there is a requirement. And next method I'm trying to discuss is al.get. Get is the predefined method which will help us to retrieve the element. So what is input parameter actually? Index. So that is nothing but integer, and the return type is object. When I say object, based upon the declaration, it will return. If you declare string here, it will return string. It will declare, if you declare integer here, it will return the integer. It will declare, if you declare boolean, it will return the boolean. So that's why I'm telling the return type is object. Return type is object, right? So now you can see al dot get index of 2. When I say 2, it will give the 0, 1, 2. Hello 2 it will give. It will give the third position value. Okay, so let me print this value, otherwise you cannot understand what value is exactly printing. Okay, so here you can say hello2, but what is there? Hello is first, hello one is the second place. When you ask for a second one, why it is printing hello2? So let me tell you one more thing. Actually, indexes always starts from 0. It will not start from 1. Index is always starting from 0. Okay, so when I say the index, it will return the hello2 because the index of hello2 is 2, right? This is the get method. So what is the input that you are giving for this get method? Basically, input is integer, that is index. It is always integer. And what it is returning? It is returning object. Object nothing but hello2, because this is string, so it will return string. If you store the integers, it will return integers. That's why I have defined this as an object. Object means it will vary based upon the declaration, right? Next one is the length. I'm sure it is length. Size. Okay, so size is the predefined method which we will use to get the size of. Size is the predefined method which will help us to get the size of the, which will help us to get the size of the array list. Size of the array list. So here no input parameters. Inline parameters not required. Inline parameter not needed. And return type integer. Okay. System.out.println al.size. So when I print this, you can say it will give this size. This is 5. So this is the predefined method size. Here if you see there is no input parameter, you are not giving any input parameter, and return type it is returning is basically integer. So the return type is 5. Clear? Next one, mail.remove. So here I will try to explain one thing. Actually, remove, if you see in array list, 2 methods will be there. Remove. So this is called method overloading. I will tell you how this is possible basically. So array list, when you pass the index, it will remove the elements that is present in the index, the specific index. When you pass the objects, that will remove that object present in the array list. If you see, so remove is the predefined method which will remove the object from the array list. It will remove the element from the array list. It will remove the element from the array list, right? So here, what is the inline parameter that we are trying to discuss? What is the inline parameter that we'll try to discuss actually? Okay, so the inline parameter basically integer, that is nothing but index, or object. So you can pass 2 things actually. Okay, or object. And what is the return type? Boolean. Either it will return true or false. So let me try to remove the index and let me print the AL. After this, you can see the before what is the value of AL, and after removing what is the value of this. So let me run and show you, run a Java application, and you can see here it is printing hello 1 and hello 2, hello 3 and hello 4. Wherein above you can see hello, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3, hello 4. Right? So what you have observed, actually, there is the remove method is a predefined method which help us to remove the values. This value is removed. So how you removed it? Actually, you provided the index 0. So what you are telling, boss, in an array list object, you remove the elements that is present in the 0 index. Clear? And now if I wanted to remove hello 4, what I have to do is object. So here I have to pass hello 4. Okay, so let's see. So hello 4 is removed. Here, why I said object, inline parameter, either integer object, why I said you can remove the hello, and if you passing the value, it will remove that specific value. And if you are having the strings, you have to pass the strings object. If it is integer array list, you have to pass the integer. If it is boolean, you have to pass the boolean. If it is a character, you have to pass the character. So that's why I told we need the object. So hope you are understood. Adding the value means creating, and retrieving or getting the value, as well as removing means deleting the value from the array list. So now what is the final array list? So it is deleted 2 values and it is having only 3 objects on final statement, right? And now, so L dot replace. And so one index with specific value. So I will explain this in a different class. Actually, it's not coming up that three different classes. I will explain later. So what are the other methods that was present? We'll try to cover. Clear means it will help us to clear, and contains will check whether that is present or not, and get will give the elements, and is empty will check whether the elements is present or not. So let me quickly explain all the predefined methods first. Okay, so is empty is the predefined method which will help us to check whether that value is, so that array list having any of the object or not. If it is having the object, it will print true, otherwise it will return false. So the return type is boolean, and inline parameters are not required. Okay, inline parameters are not required. So let me show you. And al dot is empty, system dot out dot println al dot is empty. Control C, what will happen, we'll see. And if you see, it will return the true is empty, sorry, it will return the false. The reason because this array list is having some values. So the same statement I am writing before adding the values here. Now you can see above statement will print the true and below statement will print the false. So above statement is printing true and below statement is printing false because you haven't added anything, and it is telling you don't have any values. So that's why I'm returning true. Is empty is returning false when array list having some values. Let me write it here. Is empty will return the true when there is no objects or elements in the array list. Okay, this is empty, right? Next, al dot contains. So contains is the predefined method which will help us to check whether that elements is present or not. Contains is the predefined method which will help us to check element is present or not. Present or not. So al dot contains, and what is the value that I wanted to check is, here I wanted to check hello2 is present or not. Hello2, and it will return true because that is present. So let me run and let me show you. So the last one will return the true. So we haven't added the sysout statement here. Let me add the sysout statement. Okay, let me run it here. Here it is returning the true. So if I say Nagesh, so you'll see what is the output now. It will return the false because we don't have that object. When I say object, you need to check inline parameter. It is inline parameter. So here what it is saying is boss. Here it is allowing the string value. The reason because it is Arraylist is an object that is declared in a generic format and allowing the strings. Because of that, I am allowing the string. If that is generic type and integer, then you have to check and you have to give the integers. That's why I said the integer object is the inline parameter. And what is the return type? Return type is Boolean, means it will return either true or false. If it is present, then it will return true. If it is not present, it will return the false. Clear? Any questions, please?